Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to be installing windows. It's a little bit frosty outside. This is kind of melted a little bit because I've been running the heater. I ran the heater to warm the roof up so that it dries quicker. I have some water up there that I'm gonna vacuum up. I gotta finish up the roof in the next 3 days because we have 3 days left of 50 degrees. Then winter's gonna set in. So I have to get all these windows, both doors, and that roof done in 3 days. So I'm gonna get started. What I'm gonna do first is pocket screw and assemble this window frame. This is for the back. Then I'm going to go out there and screw it into place, and by that time it should be warm enough and dry enough to start work on the windows. The flashing wants to be applied at about 50 degrees. They say to take a heat gun and warm it up if it's not around 50 degrees. So once the sun hits this, it should be warm enough, and I'll start flashing this out. I have foam tape for this, which I'll cover this up with. That can be applied at 0 to 120, so that'll go on first. But I do have to lightly sand the sill and set any nails and this, that, and the other thing. So it's a lot of work and I need to get busy. I have to go over and cut the sill for that back window. So thought I'd show you the frost. It's actually starting to burn off a little bit. It was real heavy when I first came out. Yeah, you can see it down in the pasture there. This is west facing, so this will burn off a little later than the rest. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you should be able to see it. That's one of the horses. The women folk fenced off a part of that upper field up there. We should have did that earlier in the year, but we just didn't have time. So they fenced it off yesterday so the horses can get a bit more grass before they're on hay for the rest of the winter, or rest of the fall and all of the winter. But I have that sill to make, and what else do I have? I have the sill to make, and I have to cut a bevel on one of the boards. This is the top rail for that window frame. I have to have a 10-degree bevel on it, so I'm not going to show that stuff. I'm going to get it done real quick, and I'll meet you back over there. While I was over there, I got my double bevel sill cut, and this is the, oh, no, it's not. This is the frame piece. Not sure if you could see that, but it up against the building is the high point, and it bevels down 10 degrees to shed water. So let's get this thing assembled real quick. Stainless pocket screws, and all this is doing is making it easier to install. This is not structural. It does not have to be a real nice joint or anything like that, but I do want it to be as flush as possible. But that is not always easy to do with construction lumber, because construction lumber is always, the thickness varies, the width varies. All right, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. What I'm doing is kneeling on the piece I'm screwing into. I'll get this exactly where I want it, because this board that I'm screwing to it is going to want to slide past it. And it might have a little bit. But that's okay. This will make it real easy to install. I'll just put some cleats in the upper part of the window, hang it from those. That'll make it nice and flush. Adjust it until it's flush on the sides. And then screw it in place. Instead of putting 4 sticks in and trying to get each one of them in place. What, honey? Natalie needed to know where the propane tanks were. Her and Cindy are gonna go get the two of our spares filled so that I can heat up those sills later on and put the wrap on them. Okay, yeah, this looks like it's I guess it's sort of the same thickness. Thought it was way different for a second there, but it's just the way it's sitting on the floor. Just about done. Hopefully I got this camera pointed the right way so you can see what's going on. Soon I'll have a workshop set up and do some woodworking videos. Hopefully next summer. Okay, that's it. See what she looks like. Yeah, that's not bad. That's actually really nice. Way better than it needs to be. Okay, so now I'm just going to pre-drill a couple holes in here, and I think I'll get this installed right away. It's still very frosty out there, so that'll give me something to do while I wait for things to dry off. Well, then right away I can get this glue off of here and get my sander ready and stuff. Okay, let's get them holes drilled. I have the holes drilled, and let me show you. You can see this one is about that far from the edge, and this one is a bit closer to the edge. And the reason for that is with this centered on the opening, it gets put flush with this side, but this side has a 1/2 inch of shimming in there. That's because the window size, the standard window size is 30 inches, or the rough opening is 30 inches, and the spacing on the studs is a 1/2 inch different from that. I don't know why that is. But anyways, the that allows, you have, what is it, 2 1/4 inch on one side and 2 3/4 on the other side to get to the center of this stud right here. And then we have a stud right below the window as well, that cripple, and there's a hole for that as well. So just 2 holes on the top, 2 holes on each side, and 1 on the bottom. And again, this will basically just keep the window from tipping out, but the siding will be attached to this as well. The siding, you know, the last piece of siding will dead end, or the edge of the siding will dead end into the brick molding on the window here. So it holds up the siding and holds the window from falling out. That's about it. And then there'll be a few 3 1/2 inch screws. These big holes are going to get these 6 inch specs, and that's because you have to go through this foam. So, you know, a good amount of it is going through the foam and the OSB layer. So you want a good amount of the fastener to be in the actual stud. So that's why they're 6 inches. And the shorter ones just need to go into the header. I don't need them going into the foam in the center of the header. Okay, I got to open this up and cut this foam out and then start installing this frame. Had to rush ahead and get this done. I am in a super hurry. Now I just got to take these 2 cleats off and foam this. But the next thing to do is to cut off all this foam, peel back as much of the glue as I can with a chisel, just run it along the edge. Then I'm going to take coarse sandpaper in my sander and just clean these up a bit. This back one is probably the worst because I just butted up the raw OSB to the opening, so it's a little bit proud here. So, but the sandpaper I'm going to be using is, I believe it's 40 grit, and it's a real high quality sandpaper, so it'll just take this right off. I'll just go right over this. Then I'll tape this with that 3M foam tape, which almost nothing sticks to this foam, but that stuff does. So I gotta tape up, well, just the sides. The top doesn't get taped. Once I sand it, I'll tape that. So I'm gonna get this foamed real quick and then start cutting off the foam and cleaning up these windowsills here. And then I'll start flashing them. Okay, got a couple issues here, nothing big. These corners, well, for one thing, it goes right over the bolt, but I'll just cut that out. The most important part on these corners is actually just right here, because it's almost impossible to get all your tape wrapped so that the actual corner here doesn't leak. So what I have, you can see that it overhangs. I'm going to have to trim this so it returns back to there. I still want this angled and a little bit back so that I have drainage, but that'll be all right. I'm just going to do it right back here and stay away from the corner. So I got to get these in place real quick and get moving. Oh, the other thing, when I decided to go with, this is exact stud width. This is 32 inches on center, and then it's a 1/2 inch filler and a 30-inch window. I asked the guy, I didn't want to overlap the installation flaps, the flanges, and I asked the guy at the store to measure one, and he said they were 3/4 of an inch. So, oh yeah, they'll fit. They're only 3/4 of an inch. So these are 1.5 inches. But with the inset, with the actual size of the window, I'm not sure how much will overhang. Let me see. It is 1 inch. So if I have them in there perfect, they will not overlap, I guess. But I don't see me getting them in there perfect. I've installed windows. Well, I installed windows for a living for a little while, but that was replacement, vinyl replacement, and you installed them from the inside. Whole different thing. Now I got to get 5 windows lined up nice and straight and everything. We'll see. What I'm going to do is snap a chalk line at the bottom, because I'm sure these sills aren't, in a dead straight line. Even though they look near it, but they are not. So I'll line up the bottoms and with the shims get them to the right height. I just hope it doesn't take too damn long. And another thing, I thought I had tons of roofing nails, and this is all I have. I don't have enough to fill every hole. I don't think. I have a big bin. If you watched any of my older videos from last winter when I was sorting stuff out, I have a big bin full of roofing nails, so I can get some out of that. If it's not one thing, it's two. Okay, and the sanding, what that did was get this, all three surfaces nice and flush. You could see it just takes that foam right off and gets rid of all of the sloppiness. Now it'll make it easy to put my tape on here. Let me show you that tape right away. Oh, I don't have it out here. It's 3M tape. It's really, 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 really expensive. And it's for taping over foam. One of the few things that stick to it. So I'm going to tape that from here past the foam here, just on the sides. But I'm going to put these in. Put these in first, then that tape over this, and then start flashing the sill. I'm not putting flashing up there. Any moisture or anything that gets in up here needs to be able to get through and drip down on this, down and come out here. But it's really not likely at all there'll be any condensation up there. I don't know if like the pros or anybody flashes up here. I'm sure not going to. Okay, let's get going. All right, there was no way I could film. I really had to get this as far as I possibly could, because we have, well, now 2 more days in the 50s, and this flashing requires it to be pretty warm. Otherwise, you have to do what I was doing up until it got dark out. The sun is down now, and it'll be completely dark pretty soon. What I had to do was put the torpedo heater on wherever I was working to warm the wood up, and then use a heat gun to warm the wood, then put this on, and then use the heat gun and the roller to get it in place. And that's according to instructions. If it's too cold, you're supposed to warm the wood and use a heat gun to kind of activate the adhesive. So I'm most of the way there, ready to put the windows in. What do I need to do? I got all 5 of those flashed. I got the back one flashed. I got these 2 flashed, and this one is almost done. It just needs 2 little front pieces, and then those 2. Then I'm not sure what I'll do. I can start on this right away in the morning, even if it's really cold. I'll just turn on the heater and get like that opening, aim it at that opening right there, and let it thaw out. There's going to be frost all over the place in the morning. Have it thaw out the frost, and then come in and start working on it. But I can also start fitting windows and getting windows in while it warms up. That's probably a better plan. Okay, I got to clean up before it gets too dark. If you want to see the progress on this stuff, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. And if you like the video and or share it, it helps the channel greatly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.